Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I am live, and it's about 11:27 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've been at the computer gathering information and seeing what's going on. I actually bought a couple local newspapers as well. I'm thinking about starting kind of a local podcast. And yeah, there's a few different things that I wanted to discuss with everyone, but I think today is going to be primarily about sentiment. Because I don't want to see a lot of people getting burned, hurt, confused. And so I figured I would just kind of spell some things out because, I took a break last week and, we had a bit of a red candle or a green candle day. And it just happened to be, a day when I decided I was going to come on. And I saw a couple comments like, of course, you're back when it's green, right? And I'm like, okay, dude, I've been here since 2017. Where have you been? But yes, you guys are making the live. I am live. Let it loose, says J. Crew. And that's basically what today is. It's Friday. I want to have a good weekend. And, if I don't do a certain amount of work, I start to get in my head and I start to feel like I don't deserve anything. And and I'm like, well, what can I do? And I dabble in so many different projects and I kind of wait for one to really grab my attention and keep me pushing forward. Because quite frankly, I like working 15 hours sometimes. I like just grinding until I can't see and my eyes are falling shut. I mean, it sounds terrible maybe to some, but for me, I like progress and time is limited in the world, so I just and I look at the charts and I watch other YouTubers and I watch a lot of the people, a lot of the talking heads in the space. And I feel like some of it can be very, very confusing. I feel like to some extent you have the bears and a lot of the vocal bears I feel are they're looking for engagement. I think for the most part. I don't really think that anybody is truly bearish right now. I don't see how anybody could. It's nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I think what we're really doing, and the longer I look at the charts and the longer I look at the data and everything else that's happening in the space, the more I feel like this rip, I believe is going to be very sudden, unexpected. And I don't think, I think it's kind of like the second coming, right? It's like, nobody can predict it and all of that. And I'm seeing so much lining up for this. I'll kind of give you an idea as to what I mean. I'm going to talk about a couple things. Let me move a couple things around here first. Hold on just a minute. And I'm streaming live right now on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. I didn't really title the video anything clickbaity for really. Just wanted to get something out there. And before I do, I want to go into, where is it? Because I was looking at Legacy Network. And I'm like pretty shocked. I'm going to go ahead and show this. This is Legacy Network right now. It's trading at $1.61. It's up almost 11 cents over the month. And Legacy Network has been a sponsor of mine. And, I don't know if we're moving forward with anything or not right now. It is what it is. But if I'm looking at their price action, they basically started back January 8th at around $1.18. And actually lower than that, January 7th, they basically kicked off at 96 cents. And they're getting close to doubling that. So you've already, people that have bought in on the LGCT token are doing pretty well. Even when the market is down, they're not. Now, granted, volume isn't exceedingly high, but generally across the board, they're doing about $1 million a day in trade volume, and that's up 8.5%. So they're doing all right. Market cap's around 27.5 million. And listen, this is all for an app, basically. The majority of this is focused around their app, it's kind of an AI-driven course app. That's relevant to a whole bunch of different things, whether it's relationships, career, health, and skills, and other different things. And I'm thinking about getting my daughter on this for some stuff because I'm trying to teach my daughter more about AI. And I just demonstrated the power of AI last night. I was helping her with her math homework. And, listen, I like to think of myself as a fairly bright guy, but I do not remember anything about fractions. I mean, I just don't. And, my daughter's 12 and she's, working on all this stuff where she's finding the area and like, just calculating all these fractions, and she has to show her work, which is good because it shows that you're not using AI for a lot of the stuff. But she was really, really struggling. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, what's the best way to go about this? So basically what I did was I pulled up Chat GPT, and I would take a screenshot of her problem, and I'd say, walk me through solving this. And it would walk me through. I wouldn't show her, but I would basically say, okay, what do you think you're supposed to be doing? And I'd say, work through it. And she'd work through it. And then I'd say, okay, what's your answer? She'd either give me the right answer or give me the wrong answer. If she gave me the wrong answer, I would say, okay, now walk me through the process backwards. And while she's walking through it backwards, I'm looking at the walkthrough because I don't remember any of this. And I'm like, okay, this is where I think you might have went wrong. What do you think you did wrong here? And then she went through it and she'd have, I see what I did. And then I'd say, okay, rework it and get me the answer. And then she'd get it right. And so I was very impressed, honestly, with how I was able to use ChatGPT to help her work through stuff I just did not remember whatsoever, but do it in a way that empowered me to empower her without giving her the answers. And so it actually helped us quite a bit. And she solved 10 problems and she got her homework done. And then we moved on where I'm working. I'm getting ready to take my family through the Labyrinth RPG game because I've never DM'd a game before. But anyway, and it's like a fun game. If you're trying to find something to do with your family, check out the Labyrinth game. It's like $30. It's a book. It's got a couple dice in it, a bookmark, and it's very easy. And you can, everybody can create a character, and then you walk them through this labyrinth that changes every time you go through it. So anyway, it's just kind of a fun thing that I wanted to do, but I wanted her to get her homework done before we created characters last night, which we did. And it was very, very cool. So anyway, but I'm like, this legacy network it's kind of something to that effect, but it's more general in the sense that it's not necessarily like going to help you with your math homework. But the point is that using applications like this for different use cases, I'm learning is very, very useful and very valuable. And apparently people that are, have been picking up the LGCT token are doing pretty well also. So I was really happy to actually see that because I've been working with them now for a couple of months. When did I start working with them? It was before, it was basically it was before the token launch. So whatever they're doing, I assume they have others that they've been working with that's been helping them. But I would say that, I'd like to see the volume up. And I do think that the volume will increase as more people are using the app and things. So if you picked up the LGCT token, you're probably pretty happy because it's doing better than most. And it looks like there's a lot more accumulation and things than there are people selling because the volume's not that high. So people could be tanking it, but they're not. They're holding it, which means that the app is actually proving useful for people and they're using the tokens in the app or for app related things. So yeah, kudos. That's really, really cool to see. Now, this is from one of my favorite X users, Dave. In 2025, venture capitalists are out marketing their blockchain investments using flashy metrics like volume, TVL or total value locked, active addresses, and fee revenue. But the reality is, most tokens in these ecosystems have little to no actual utility tied to the token itself or the blockchain they're built on. Many are essentially just Web 2 apps with a token slapped on for optics. And he's so freaking right. I don't know if this guy's ever posted anything I did not disagree, or I don't think he's ever posted anything I disagreed with. Things like token buybacks are often just smoke and mirrors. Exactly. Front run by insiders who know exactly when the team will pull the trigger. They position buys and sells on either side, extracting value, while retail gets left holding the bag, leaving the blockchain use case as merely pseudo-anonymous value extraction. And this is just one of the ploys that we see a lot in the crypto space. And I feel like I get kind of a mixed bag. I know that there's a lot of you guys out there who've been watching my channel for years. I really appreciate you guys. I see you guys always in my chat. You're always you're competing to be first in chat, and it's all cute and fun and heartwarming at the same time, because I know that a lot of you guys have been out there really relying on me and trusting me to just give it to you as I do, just give it to you straight. And you know, as we move through this weekend, I believe we're going to get a pump this weekend, even though everything is coming down right now. And I could be wrong. I'm always right sometimes. I'm not 100% sure what to expect, but the thing that I've been really learning to ignore is unless you're actively day trading, the price action day to day really doesn't mean shit. I mean, it doesn't. The only way the price action from day to day really means all that much is if you're trading a shit token on a shit chain that's basically focused around quick turnarounds, quick bucks. And if you are trading one of those types of assets, chances are you're going to get burned no matter what you do. It just doesn't matter. I try to push people into assets. You know what? I shouldn't say that. I try to educate people on assets that I believe are going to stand the test of time and truly outperform the majority over time. I'm not necessarily worried about, I'm going to buy this token today and I'm going to watch every little thing that happens over the next 48 hours because I got to get out. And it's like, if you have to do that in crypto, you're gambling. And gambling, we know how that works for the majority of people. You just don't win. And that's one of the main reasons why I've become such a proponent of Cardano over the years, because I believe in everything that it's building. And the truth is that while Cardano isn't topping the charts or topping the headlines for things like NFTs and meme tokens, it has been establishing strong relationships on a global scale for real world use. And the real world uses that it was designed for. We have all the gimmicks. The gimmicks are fine, but it's never been a focal point for Cardano. And that's really not why any of us are here. We don't really give a shit about the next meme coin launch, or like we've got Snack, we've got Hosky, we've got a couple that we care about that we like, and they are big proponents of the community. They're not just cash grabs looking to rug people as quickly as they can meet profit. That's why we like them. They're still here. They're still working. They're still active in the community, spreading joy, spreading fun, spreading memes, and just basically empowering. They're like mascots for the blockchain. It's no different than like the mascot of an athletic team. The mascots don't really do anything, but they're there and they're consistently there. And you can always rely on them to be kind of helpful to the community or to the crowd. And that's the way I look at some of these meme coins. Anything outside of that is a pet rock that's basically launching to extract money from you, your ignorance, or your greed, or all of the above. And that's why I stay away. That's why I don't talk about it on my channel. That's why I don't chase the next gimmicky bullshit that comes out like a lot of YouTubers do. And I get it. If you want to grow a channel, you've got to go where the views are. You got to grow where the degeneracy is. But that's not my way, and that's not what I'm about, and it's really not what I'm here for. So the whole point of a lot of this is that right now there's so much fear from people that are new to the space, while at the same time, there's a lot of excitement from people like me who've been in the space for years and kind of see and understand what's happening. All I'm really trying to say in a nutshell is, if you're in a quality asset that is actually doing things to change the world, enhance the world, you've got really nothing to worry about, in my opinion. It's all going to work out just fine. It's just a matter of having the patience to withstand the FUD, the BS, the competing blockchains that are paying crypto media for narratives that are complete garbage. Crypto media, they're not referees. They don't really give a shit. They're here to make money, especially crypto media, but it's the same across the globe. And, typically they always say that to the victors go the spoils, but at the same time, it's the winners throughout history that wrote it to begin with, right? So a lot of this stuff is who has the most money to buy the narrative and basically brainwash everybody into believing a fallacy, because if you tell a lie enough, it becomes truth. And we see that across the board all over the place, and crypto is no different. This is why I always try to tell people you want to educate yourself as much as possible to understand the technologies behind the assets you're accumulating, because if you believe enough in the way that asset is going to change the fabric of humanity, or change just the world of finance or Web3 gaming, or whatever the overall use case focus is for that asset, the more you understand it, the less the noise bothers you and gets to you. And believe me, I'm all in my Cardano, and I've got other assets as well. I've got some IAG. I've got a handful of other, like what I consider like they're probably going to do pretty well. But for me, I focus on layer one. And if it's not Bitcoin, to me, it's Cardano. So if we look at the market and what's going on right now, it's interesting because Bitcoin's broken down under 84 or 85,000 again. It's probably about to hit 83. And we've really just been bouncing up and down within certain areas. Ethereum is back down to 1880. I mean, it's crazy to see what's happening. You've got Cardano bouncing at around 70 cents. I've been saying this forever, man. I think I forget, I'm going to show the channel, but it's crazy. Now you got other stuff like Kronos. It's up 38%. That's pretty insane. Zcash is up 19%. Maker, I mean, this is a $1,400 token and it's up 18%. Render, I've always been pretty bullish on Render. I can't remember if I even own any, honestly, but it's up 17%. Sui is it's up almost 14%. Sonic, I was just talking about this yesterday. This is up 13% over the week. So, I mean, and there are a lot of others. A lot of these are going up. I'm actually genuinely interested. Now, what I did yesterday, was it yesterday? Was a paid segment, but I'm actually really interested in learning more and getting a better understanding about Sonic and what I think could be possible with them. But I mean, they've been doing pretty well over the last week. Everything is dipping right now. And what we see, this is what we see a lot of in the crypto space, is even though the majority of assets, like what are some of the biggest losers, I wonder? Pi token, okay, that's down to 83 cents. I mean, they've been making it extremely difficult for people to exit with their KYC mandates, even though like the exchanges don't have to do it. Pi token is. It's very interesting. You've got Caspa. Folks, I hold a little bit of Caspa and I just don't see it performing this cycle. I'm sorry. I know that there are a lot of Caspa bulls out there that really want this to do well. And I understand what it's like to have somebody kind of FUD like something that you really care about and that you're really into. I get it. I'm just not seeing this perform. I mean, it'll likely go up, but I just don't see Caspa like going bonkers this cycle. I just think it's still too early for Caspa. It hasn't really done anything yet that's like blown my skirt back. So anyway, the problem though is that when we look at these assets, even though everything is red and everything is down, what you typically see is you start to see a trade war in the media. You start seeing, assets pay for narratives relevant to or related to basically the decline of their most competitive asset, right? As though it's the only one falling. We see it with Cardano all the time. Every day, throw a dart. We see it. It's all noise. It's all BS. It's all basically ways of trying to capitalize on the community that is Cardano, that has grown grassroots since 2017 without any major marketing or anything due to the nature of it that's being decentralized and all of that. I've talked about it a million times. It has not had a whole bunch of venture capital money to buy narratives. It's everything it's accomplished. It's done on its own merit over time by doing things the right way. That is something that continues to exponentially grow the sentiment of Cardano overall. And you can't really challenge that long term. The only way you could try is by buying bogus narratives through the crypto sellout soulless media. And that's it. And hope it lasts. Hope it gets you a little more volume. Hope it gets you a few more token accumulators. But in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't actually change the overall picture, which is why I say you shouldn't worry too much about it. Now, an analyst has recently projected that Cardano could surge to $7.10, a 10x rally from current levels. I personally think it's I'm still holding. I still think $8 may very well be a conservative estimate at this point. According to an analyst projection shared by Cardano Ecosystem Insider, ADA appeared primed for a potential 10x rally. The analysts cited historical patterns, especially the bullish inverse head and shoulders formation that led to a massive rally to ADA's top in the past cycle. If validated, that would translate to an ADA price target of $2.90 or $7.10. And, I've calculated the potential price of getting to Cardano, getting Cardano to $8 so many times over the years now. And they all just line up, and it doesn't matter how I do it. If it doesn't matter if I'm using time scales, fib, it doesn't matter what I do. Everything points to $8 this cycle. And so we just have to wait and see. Because while Cardano goes up, there are a lot of big bag holders, and we're going to be fighting, depending on where we're at in the cycle and the price at that point. I mean, we're going to be fighting a lot of sell pressure. So it just really depends on what happens with the government, the policies, the stable tokens, liquidity, all of that stuff. But this is market cap dominance of Cardano on a weekly chart. So every one of these candles is weekly. And this is basically showing, like back here in July of 2021, you can see where the dominance fell and then started to skyrocket again into that first big peak in 2021. And matching that, even with diminishing returns at 153%, this is basically saying that market cap dominance of Cardano could get to around 3.5%. I think it's going to be significantly higher than that. There's no way this is taking into account Bitcoin OS and IOHK's version of it. When Bitcoin's price reaches $200,000 and we have multi-trillion dollars worth of Bitcoin, likely even more. If we start selling gold, listen, folks, if we start selling gold to start accumulating Bitcoin, this is just going to send Bitcoin through the stratosphere, because we're also seeing other countries lining up to start doing the same thing to be competitive with what the U.S. does. Typically, the United States is the flagship for all action across the board with other countries. What we're also going to see is we're going to see a battle in crypto as everybody tries to fight and either establish control or dominance. There's going to be one or the other. Dominance is going to be like the US's approach. Control is going to be like the EU's approach. EU's all about the CBDCs, controlling everybody, controlling everything, censoring everyone, silencing people that say anything. I mean, it's 1984. It's straight out of the book. If you're not familiar, go read it. It's all happening in real time in the UK right now. It's absolutely mind-boggling. But you know what they don't have over there to basically defend themselves? Well, they don't have the right to bear arms. They don't have a lot of the freedoms that we have here. And they've been laughing at us for so long because we have it, and they're basically calling us out. I just saw something recently where I don't know what they call him, the prime minister, whoever it is over in the UK, where he's basically talking about how knife violence is basically like an epidemic now. And it's just on top of that, the criminals don't care about what your laws are. And that's been proven too, because gun violence has also apparently been going on the rise. So this is all nonsensical, but it doesn't matter because it's not supposed to make sense. It's supposed to establish further reigns of control over the populace. And the U.S. is taking the complete opposite approach of all of that. So we'll see what happens. But that's what we're seeing play out. Now, ADA's search interest versus whales, everything is going up. That's basically what it boils down to. Reading through this, everything is going up. So it doesn't really matter. Now, let's take a look at the pi cycle real quick. This is the pi cycle, still a wide berth. Let's refresh this just to be on the safe side. And I'm going to open up basically where we were last market cycle. Oh, that goes off the chart. So this is actually up a little bit higher. Because of this little dip we're having right now, you can see the pi cycle breadth basically expanding a little. And, you can see if we were to take this all the way back to where we were in the last market cycle, we'd be somewhere around here before it really starts to narrow in. And, we've got months to go. So this is actually, what it looks like? It looks like this right here. Wow, that looks like that. This looks like where we are right now, right here, in terms of price action and the relevance of you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back out here. I'm going to refresh this. I'm going to cover the whole thing so that we can see this. But if we cover that right there. All right. Now, oh, shoot. Yeah, I can't even make it bigger, but I think you guys get the point. But this is about where we're at before everything really started to close in. And, we were at a wide berth here in the pi cycle. It started to narrow, and then we had another dip, and then we had a big rally, man. And this rally, basically, this started in December, and this rally basically went up, and this was like a month-long rally. This could very well be our April. We're in March, and April is probably going to be pretty big. That's my guess. I've been questioning whether or not that we were going to get like an April and May rally, or if everything that's happening in May is going to be priced into the month of April. And then in May, when everything's actually happening, it's the kind of sell the news event. And that is our recovery. So you can see that here, even on this chart, you can see down here. I hate how it's difficult to see. Nope. I have so much going on here. I'll put my chat up here. I love to have my chat on screen, but it gets in the way. But you can see how this price is. It changes. It goes up. We get it goes up for about a month. We get a little bit of a dip over the course of like a weekend or whatever, 2 or 3 days, and then boom, it's another leg up. Then by the end of January, so this is 2 months. This is 2 months of price action right here. And then boom, we get another correction. Now, this is typically a pretty significant correction. I would estimate anywhere between 20-30% before we have our another big final leg up. This is over the course of several months that this is playing out. I think that peak is likely going to be somewhere around October for us. So we have time. And then once this closes, once this pi cycle indicator closes, then typically we get our big blow off tops in the altcoin space as well. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. The flows off exchanges and everywhere are just, everything is happening behind the scenes in a way that screams extremely, extremely bullish. But you see a lot of the sentiment from people and they don't get it. They don't understand. Open interest has been kind of hanging out in a channel right now because there's still uncertainty as to what exactly is happening. And that's fine by me. The ETFs are down a little bit, nothing major. We're heading into a weekend. My hope is that we don't come down, set up another CME futures gap with a pump over the weekend that forces us to come back down to it by next Wednesday. But you can see price action here on a 4-hour chart. We're coming down a little bit. I mean, we were all the way up here to basically 88,700. We're all the way down here to 84,000. But it's ultimately a pretty effective channel within this $77,000 range. And I would say, like 95,000 being the top. But if we want to get real about it, the channel here for the most part for this month of March has been, basically around 88,000. And let's see here, bottom, I would say this has been primarily the channel. But, realistically, I wonder if this would break out of here because this, yeah, I mean, that's basically what we're looking at, which is, I think, honestly, we could break to the upside out of this over the weekend, but then that would create a CME futures gap around this $86,000 mark. I haven't even looked at the CME futures, so I'm not 100% sure where it's at right now. But if we look at liquidity, man, the liquidity of I want to look at a 3-day, it's just blowing up to the upside. I mean, there's barely anything down here. I mean, it's hard. You can't say barely anything. There's tens of millions of dollars sitting down here. But compared to the upside, compared to Bitcoin moving its way up, this is what's happening. I think this is a trap. I think it's drawing people in to establish more shorts because they're watching the price go down so dramatically. And then those shorts are going to be somewhere around here, depending on where they have their leverage. And then we're just going to get I think we're going to probably pump rather quickly back to the upside. Cardano is sitting, and it's basically been in this channel for quite a while. This is a daily candle, but you know, I mean, hell, this was since the beginning of March. We get an occasional breakout here and there just to let us know that like Cardano's still alive and breathing and it's still ready for the fight. But man, these points of interest have basically been established long before now. We get these occasional breakouts for whatever reason. I don't fully understand, but we could go all the way back to February of 2021. And this is where a lot of this stuff was established. You go and get into June 2022. This is where a lot of this stuff has been established, and we're in it right now. But we're going to be breaking out of that. And I do believe we're going to be breaking out of this to a significant upside higher than, you know, I would say at least higher than $1.10. And I think that a lot of this stuff is going to continue moving forward. And we're going to have, you know, explosions to the upside. And then we're going to get sideways, and then we're going to get explosions to the upside. And we're going to do that several times between now and the peak of the market. And I think that once we hit May, if we don't get this stuff priced in April, I think May is going to be just absolutely mind-boggling. I really do. So we'll see. I'm looking at the over-the-counter supply. We're at 136.9 thousand Bitcoin. And I feel like when things are moving down, retail starts to sell. You know, are these ETFs? I'm not even 100% sure if ETFs are tradable at leverage. I don't think they are, especially considering their spot. But I don't know if you own it, can you do anything with it? I don't understand enough about that to speak on it. But yeah, almost 137,000 Bitcoin still available over the counter. And this is just continuing to go down, 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 right? This purple line here represents the supply of Bitcoin on over-the-counter exchanges, which if you're new, this is the number of Bitcoin that are being sold outside of the order books. So all of this Bitcoin that's selling is not affecting the Bitcoin price at all. It's being bought up, which means, you know, we should have had, you know, if we go all the way back here into 2021, you know, it's just been, people have been buying it, accumulating all the way as the price has come down since then. And it's not moving the price for a lot of reasons. Oh, look, it's showing me as live. So yeah, and I thought this meme was funny. I love Steak with Pride. He's got Solana as a bot. I'm pretty sure he did this on the new Chat GPT 4.0 image creator, which is bomb. It is amazing. It really is solid. It does text perfectly. And, you know, a lot of people, you have to refresh. For those of you that don't know, if you're using Chat GPT 4.0 image creator, it looks like it stops and it hangs, but it doesn't. For whatever reason, it doesn't finish rendering the page in that frame. You just have to refresh and your image is done. It doesn't take as long as people think it does, but you just have to refresh. But yeah, I love this because it's so perfect. Cardano is about the people. It's for the people. People understand it. Everybody in the Solana ecosystem, they're basically just bots being fueled by cash to keep it going. I mean, the whole thing, this just couldn't be more true. I don't know what else to say. I love Steak with Pride. I was trying to get him on the channel, him or her. I don't know if it's a man or woman. I think it's a guy. But I was trying to get him on the channel. He's just like, I'm just not about the public. You know, I don't really want to be in the public eye. And I'm like, that's cool. You know what I mean? I've talked to a lot of people that they get nervous. They don't really want to be, you know, in the public eye for whatever reason. And I'm like, okay, I totally respect that. I'm like, well, there are other ways we could go about it. We could do voiceover, create like an avatar or something like that. But he wasn't about it. I'm like, that's cool. But he's super sweet, super friendly. So anyway, that's basically what's happening. Like I'm going to go ahead and look. I've only been on 34 minutes. And I'm going to scroll through chat and acknowledge you guys and see what you guys have to say and what's going on. I'm kind of pseudo passively working right now on creating a new podcast for like Southwest Florida and you know, seeing, I really think Cardano, when it goes on some of these tears, it's slowly eating up, like against Ethereum. Like it's going to surpass Ethereum, I do believe, this cycle. And I'm like watching it in real time. It's a slow grow and then a pump, a slow grow and then a pump. And it takes like 3 steps forward, 1 step back, 3 steps forward. I mean, and I'm just watching that in real time. Let's go. Crow tokens, Apex, make me alpha. Why is market tanking? Thought we'd be blasting by now. Ash Tony. Yeah, you know, I just don't think we're in any real hurry. We're really not in any real hurry. There's so much happening right now. Every time Trump says tariff, anytime I feel like anything good that's happening, somebody is out there trying to wreck it. And I believe there's some intentionality to it. I can't put my finger on who or what. For all I know, we've got some sort of like crypto trading NGO out there that's very well funded, and they're just working against everything that Trump says. But that's just tinfoil hat conspiracy. It's probably not true. Glad to see you doing live often. Thank you, Destroyer. I'm trying. I actually like you guys. It is so much easier to record a quick 15-minute video and just throw it up. But I just like seeing you guys, honestly. Especially when I just don't feel like doing crypto. I at least like to see you guys in my chat and kind of like do what I'm about to start doing now. Just going through your comments and answering questions. JC, what's going on? And man, thanks to Big Pay and Po-Man and like the guys that keep sponsoring you guys and having memberships. You know, I mean, it supports me, you know, and I really appreciate it. It's like I love seeing the little like the Crypto Crow logos next to your green names. That's just such a cool thing. It really is. It's very cool. 2017 is when I got in. Dean, that's great. Tricks are us. I've waited 4 years for this. We all deserve the pump after the start of this bull run. It has not been easy, man. Listen, and you know what? I don't care what anybody says. The truth is, every one of us YouTubers, we all watch each other. We all watch each other. I know I've talked to a lot of people. A lot of the biggest YouTubers out there I know watch this channel. I know they watch me. They've told me they've watched me. I've got a lot of people started in crypto watching me the same way Ian Bellina and Supoman got me into crypto back in 2017. We all watch each other. We try to understand the sentiment. We all have different tools and things that we use to look at the market and understand what's happening. And we all just we're all one giant collaboration, whether we admit it or not. And it's very, very true. And so, you know, I mean, we're all in it together, man. You know, like if what I believe is coming doesn't happen, I'm so screwed. Like I'm going to have to start an OnlyFans for all you gay for crow folks. Okay. Cause I'm not going to have a choice. I am so into Cardano and ADA and my crypto assets right now that I'm like, you know, if something happens and it goes south, I'm screwed. Like we have to move. Like my entire life changes. I go back to the slums, man. Cause like, I didn't really live in the slums before crypto, but, you know, it's like, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I can tell you that. I'm really not sure. Well, I know what I am doing. I'm really trying. Well, we're still working on Wargrum. We're just trying to get the capital. I'm either going to pay, like when the market comes up and I'm either just going to pay for it all myself to get Wargrum finished, because I really think I think Wargrum is going to be one of the best trading card games out there, let alone a blockchain game. And I think my idea for it is phenomenal, quite frankly. I mean, the story behind it, the lore, everything. I think it's going to be incredible. And I want to do a lot related to the Wargrum universe. I don't want to just have a card game. I want to have books. I want to have, you know, maybe even there'll be some sort of RPG where, you know, maybe I use AI to create an RPG rule book around, you know, running like Wargrum campaigns, because that universe is very, very strong. And, you know, you've got the survivors and the reborn. You've got AI that's basically figured out how to like reanimate the corpses of people who've fallen in battle, you know, and then, you know, basically says you're fighting for me now to protect all of these valuable resources that I need to expand my my servers, expand the breadth of my control. And you've got all these survivors that are basically trying to fight these rebirth, the undead. I just think it's a really powerful story. I think I did a hell of a good job with it. And I just think it's a universe that I think would be cool. Kind of like a Fallout, but even further in the future, if you will, where AI is really taken over everything. And then you're basically fighting to control land. And the land that you're able to control through dominating through the card game yields resources that you can use to create new weapons and gear and things like that, or cards that you can then add to your deck. I just think it's phenomenal, but we need like 150,000 ADA still to finish what we really want to get done to basically make it retail ready. And we thought, well, we could launch it and then just sell card packs and let people play what we have already, which is the multiplayer MVP, where you can deck build and you could do everything, but it doesn't have the land. It doesn't have, there are things that we still don't have yet. We still have 250, 300 cards ready to be implemented into the game. And then plans for 20 more sets. So it's just, but I don't really want to do that. I want to launch it as a retail ready, here we go, let's go. And I want to have big tournaments and all that. But I'm just trying to figure out how do I come up with 150,000 ADA to finish it. And I don't want to do it with my own money until the market's reached where it's supposed to go. And that's my hang up. And I thought, well, maybe I could vote on it and create, I don't know. There are different ways I could go about it, but I'm really just not sure what to do. I guess let me know in the comments. What if we did a booster pack pre-sale? Would that interest enough people? Because that's the other thing. I wouldn't want to do it unless I knew that it was going to generate the capital we needed to finish it. Because if we only sold X amount, it's only going to get us so far. And then all of you guys are waiting. So, anyway, the price is not bad, but you can't sell those tokens. I know because I used the app and they're locked on there right now. Oh, I see. You're talking about the LGCT. I did not know that. You can't sell them. Well, that explains why there's not much of a dip and it's kind of up only. But I guess if I were to buy them and I knew they were up only for a while, but I wasn't aware of that. So that's good to know. I have 2,500 to put in the market. What is ADA going to do? I can get as much as possible. Kyle Scherger, what do you mean? What is ADA going to do? I believe ADA is going to do extremely well. Charles Hoskinson just moderated Donald Trump's son and everybody at Liberty Finance. You know what I mean? To me, that's very telling. It's not exactly exactly a nothing burger. Charles is a part of the policy group that's helping implement a lot of the policies that they're working on right now. I don't think his role in the stable token markets is as big as what he's going to be in the rest of the altcoin when they start trying to solve all of those problems. ADA is part of the digital reserve or whatever it's called. You've got Bitcoin OS coming, and IO. You've got two versions of it. You got Bitcoin OS, which is going to use their own token, and then you've got the Cardano IOHK's version of what Bitcoin OS is going to do, which is basically going to make Cardano the brain for Bitcoin, right? So if you think of Bitcoin as just a big dumb lump of metal, right? It's gold, it's digital gold, it's a store of value, and it's amazing for what its purpose is. Very limited and 21 million and all of that. But if you take Cardano and then you apply that to something like Bitcoin, now Bitcoin has a brain. Now Bitcoin has smart contracts. Now Bitcoin has access to Web3 and DeFi and lending protocols and all this stuff through smart contracts that it doesn't have otherwise for the most part. So that's one of the biggest things to happen in the crypto space. And it's all evolving around Cardano. Why? Because of the way Cardano's been designed. While everybody's focusing on stupid shit like meme coins and NFTs and all of that, Cardano has been getting built to be able to apply its nature and its technology to everything from Bitcoin to Ripple, XRP, a lot of these other assets. And, when you've got all of that flowing through Cardano, and then when you get Basho and Laos and Hydra and all of these other things finally implemented into the Cardano ecosystem, and our transactions per second is not only through the roof comparative to every other asset out there in blockchain space, but it's also beating the pants off of Visa, which has been the key element, like that key target for throughput across all chains. It doesn't shut down like a lot of these other chains. It's secure. Nobody's hacked it. It's decentralized. It's everything that crypto was supposed to be in inception, but instead it's been competed against by all of the degenerate money grubbers, the VCs, the groups out there that just want to profit from it as best they can while it's all still in its infancy. And if you look at the price of crypto assets on a chart, you'll notice that the biggest moves can generally happen when volume is low and somebody with a lot of assets can move the price one way or the other. Typically, they're shorting it, right? When volume is low, it's a lot easier to move the price of an asset because you don't have as much order book flow that's basically acting as support or resistance, right, in either direction. And I feel like that's kind of where we're at right now with crypto overall being in its infancy. You've got degenerative plays. You've got people out there that just want to profit from it in the best way. And because understanding, education, all of these different things that are slowly growing over time, cycle to cycle. There are more people this cycle in the know than there were last cycle. There were more people in the know last cycle than there were in the 2017 cycle. And that education is continuing to filter out exponentially across the board. And the more of that education that happens, the more we're starting to get government involvement, institutional involvement, and we're starting to take the power out of the degenerates' hands and putting it into the hands of people that want to see the industry move forward in big, bright new ways. And that's basically the similarity there. And that's where we're at, and we're getting everything. And one of the main assets that aligns with a lot of the significant use cases for sovereign nations and you know, the freedom of the people is Cardano. Everything else out there, if you were to think of like Cardano as what it is, right? This decentralized chain, it's capable of doing all of this stuff, and you want the polar opposite of that, that would be like the CBDCs. And I guess if you want to get somewhere in the middle, it would be like your Solana. Okay, that's really how this cookie crumbles, in my opinion. And so that's what we're seeing is we're seeing a battle. We're seeing constant battles in the grand war of crypto adoption across the board. And, you know, when it comes to me, I focus on Cardano because I actually understand it. Hopefully I answered your question. AU106 Gay for Crow. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to see you in chat. Jason Owen, yo Crow, good to see you live, my man. Well, what's up, man? I always see you all over the socials on Facebook. Joey Crypto, what's up, man? You can't sell the tokens you're in the app right now. Okay, I got that. Marcus, it's going all right, man. It's going all right. Crypto is just not the future. Accept it and move on. Did you spray paint a Tesla yesterday? I'm just curious. Appreciate you too, JC. Been watching for years. First comment ever. Appreciate you, dude. Well, thank you, Gina. It's funny seeing I assume a female. I can't tell from the avatar. It looks like a couple. My daughter, my 12-year-old daughter is always calling me broski. And I'm like, I'm not your broski. I'm your father. I'm your dad. But it's like, it's just how she talks. So like seeing a chick be like, what's up, dude? I'm like, what's up, yo? But here you are, Stefan Joop. To help people get the realism back, crypto is not the future. If one clown can turn the market so up and down, Trump. Oh boy. Oh wow. I didn't even get, of course. See, here we go. That's just reading that first comment. I just knew where this was going. And sure enough, so you've at least thought about spray painting a Tesla recently. Listen, you're wrong. I don't know what else to tell you, but you're wrong. Listen, folks, if this is your sentiment right now, you've got to read more than your, never mind. It's pointless. You can't reach these folks, man. They're just so ingrained in their own ideology that, it is definitely a mind virus, man. I a part of me feels bad because it's just like, what brought you here? And then another part of me gets so frustrated because it's just this constant influx of ignorance that just, because a lot of these people, my wife and I, perfect example. My wife and I have been watching Love is Blind, and there's this girl on there who, she has a lesbian sister, and then her sister's, I don't know if it's her wife or whoever. And like, listen, folks, I say this all the time. I have gay friends. I'm so open-minded to the world, and my wife is beyond open-minded to the world. I have gay friends, gay relatives. I am so not against that community whatsoever. Like, not even in the slightest bit. Okay. But I really feel that there is such a strong ignorance across multiple communities that I don't feel like anybody should be able to pinpoint somebody's political stance based off of their sexuality. I'm sorry. I just find that ignorant. I don't feel that anybody should be judged or rated or included or discluded or whatever the word I'm looking for, based off of like whether or not they have a rainbow flag or whether or not they drive a Tesla or, because it all changes with the weather, and a lot of it is nonsense. All of this stuff, all of this sentiment that we're seeing is an extension of the media. People are always saying, "Oh, I hate Trump because he's so divisive." No, he's not. Your media is divisive. Your media is the one that's making you believe in a reality that does not exist, which is why so much of what you say online or anywhere else is easily thwarted, debunked, or rebutted with facts and logic, because the sentiment that you have established for yourself wasn't established by you. It was established by the media that you consume, put out by people that are very, very likely being paid to fill your head with it. And that's just all there is to it. And listen, I am all about gay rights and like humanitarian everything. Like I would love for us to be able to help the world and everybody should, like, nobody should be homeless. Nobody should be without food. Nobody should be without medical care. I believe in all of that stuff. The problem is that there are too many people who take those narratives and those missions and they use that as a meat shield to achieve whatever ulterior motives they have for profiting themselves. Okay. And that is the problem. Too much has been going unchecked for too long. And that's what's changing now. And the people that are profiting and making generational wealth off of these narratives associated with, oh, well, we need to keep this program in place because we need to. I'm sorry, we shouldn't be like almost $1 billion for an online poll. What about an online poll costs like $850 million, folks? Let's be real about it. Where do you think the money's really going? Why do you think that there are so many people in Congress and throughout our government who are making $100, $150, even $200,000 a year, and 5 years later they're worth tens of millions of dollars? It does not work that way, folks. The same people that are basically saying burn the rich are the same people making it rich off of those narratives directly. And it's just like, when do we take a step back and we just let go of our own arrogance? And we say, because listen, I've been critical of Trump, like the meme coins and all the bullshit. I'm like, get the fuck out of here with that. I'm not for that. I get it to some extent. It's to basically show the world, listen, the old guard is gone. This is the new guard. Have fun, right? I get that. But it's just like, there are things that I don't agree with. I mean, we have to also remember Trump was the guy who was pushing the Bitcoin tax. I was so pissed at Trump when he launched the crypto taxation and all of that. And I'm like, man, that's disgusting. And I honestly, I think now that he understands it, I'm hoping he reverses it. He should. But I don't know. I don't know. I do believe that what they're doing right now is in efforts to balance the budget cut $1 trillion in spending. I think Elon said they're cutting $4 billion a day, 7 days a week in wasteful spending and fraud. Why is half the country, why is it that you can take any big political issue and you instantly know where this side stands and this side stands without having to talk to any of them? That's not right, folks. That's not right. I don't feel like you should be able to, and it's like you can take somebody and they can say, well, I voted for this person, and you can know every argument they have. You can know everything they're going to say to you in a debate. You can know, because it's all programmed into them. They don't even understand half of what they're saying because it doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense in the way that when they're regurgitating it to you, thinking they're dropping bombs, and then you can rebuttal with facts and logic, and then they get all mad and start flying off the handle. It's because they don't actually understand what the fuck they're saying. That's just something they read that morning, or it's something that they heard their friends say, or it's something that their algorithm is projected onto them over and over and over again with all of these paid narratives across the board. I saw the report. Thousands of people on social media have been getting paid big money to perpetuate these various narratives associated with supporting the left. They're all being paid. And then you adopt that as your ideology because you believe that, human beings should be able to do this, that, and another thing. I agree with you. That's not the real question here. The question is, what does it mean to the world when these issues are being used in dark ways or bad ways to benefit the people that are ultimately controlling the narratives that you see, that you adopt? People running around firebombing Teslas. I mean, how is that okay? And anybody with any real sense, in my opinion, regardless of the way whatever you think, I've seen now at least 10 different people on the left doing this hand raised from their breast, right? But for whatever reason, the media has programmed people to believe that this one individual is the worst human possible while everyone else goes ignored. I mean, we have to start using our thinking caps. We so many of these people claim to be academics. Well, you should remember having to put your thinking cap on in grade school, right? When does that come on and the nonsense stops? There's really no reason why we can't all work together and come to some form of compromise. But the media and the politicians don't want us to do that. Because if we do that and we actively started banding together and saying, you know what? You're on the right. I'm on the left. You're on the center. Here's what we can agree on. We need to start focusing on what can we agree on and work out from there. How do we start getting everyone together? Because the media doesn't want us working together. The media and the politicians, they don't want us talking, right? They want us all in our individual bubbles with our individualized algorithms that's constantly force feeding us a bunch of bullshit that keeps us arguing and debating without any real sensibility, okay? Because as long as we do that, they can control what happens in the polls. Well, we've just learned that only goes so far for so long. The thing of it is it's an issue with the right and the left, because if it wasn't somebody on the left and it wasn't the man that everybody's been programmed to hate so much, it could have very well have been somebody on the right that is willing to also play ball for a fat check or a lot of benefits. We've seen that too. This isn't a right or left issue. This is a propaganda and control issue. And we have to start unifying in some way and start taking back what we know actually holds value. I'm not gonna go on anymore. You guys are probably already over it, but it's really frustrating for me because I talk to friends. I have liberal friends. I've lost friends that are liberal, and it's just like it really shouldn't be that way. It just shouldn't be that way, because realistically, when I'm debating someone on the left, whether it's friend or family or somebody, I don't feel like I'm debating them. I'm debating what they've consumed in the media. And so, but the problem is that because they've adopted it as part of what they believe, regardless of facts or figures or logic or metrics or real data, I used to argue with my liberal friend George, who hasn't spoken to me in, I don't know, a year and a half. I was literally right on absolutely everything I ever told that man. And you'd think he'd have enough sense to be like, you know what, you were right. And I overreacted to a lot of stuff, and I'm really sorry. I still value your friendship. He was a brilliant guy. I mean, when it comes to gaming and cybersecurity and all that stuff, he's a super cool dude. But unfortunately, I got really fed up with him sending me all these TDS memes all the time and acting like every new news article was somehow factual, and like he was dropping bombs on me and my ideology. And I was just like, listen, dude, you got to lighten up, like loosen up. And it just progressively got worse and worse and worse over a period of years. And every time he was disproven, he would move the goalpost and focus on something else, obviously at the behest of the media that was moving on their narrative. And it's just like, then they keep it going. And all it does is continuously build anxiety, frustration, doubt, anger, all of it, rage in some cases. And that is the easiest mind to control, folks. If you are able to maintain a sensibility and a calmness in the midst of all of the noise and the chaos, you are much more difficult to control. Anyway. Cardano's still holding good strength around 70 cents. Yeah, and I expected to. It could dip, I think, maybe as low as 64. I think that's the bottom of the channel that has been holding steady for quite a while. But it is what it is. Sonic and Pi, I'm getting hungry. Yeah. Sonic is just rebranded Phantom. I know. I talked about this the other day. I did a paid segment with them, and they... And I realized, I learned that it was basically a rebranded FTM, but it's not just rebranded. They've improved on it significantly. So, and there are a lot of influencers all over the place that have been talking about Sonic, and I was wondering why. And then he reached out to me, and I was like, okay, yeah, I want to understand, because there's a lot of time I don't dive into other projects unless it's a paid segment. I mean, I'm just going to be real. I'm glued to Cardano and what comes out and what Cardano's doing and what the ecosystem is doing. But I get companies that they reach out to me or some of the people handling my paid segments, and then I look at it, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool, I can dig it. And I didn't see anything glaringly wrong with Sonic. I think it might do pretty well this cycle, especially given the fact that they've been putting a lot of money into supporting its growth through marketing. That's a big deal. And the thing of it is I'm all for marketing. I'm against bullshit marketing. Like, if a company came to me and they're like, hey man, we're going to pay you, X thousands of dollars, because we're launching this chain, our token launches next week, and we really want to, but we really want to compete with Cardano, and we want to do you have a problem reading this script? And it's all bullshit. And first of all, I don't read scripts. It's not happening. Second of all, I won't support a blockchain that's trying to promote itself or build its name and recognition on the back of using bullshit to attack something else. And that's just all there is to it. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Crypto Princess, how are you? I haven't even looked at the numbers for that interview. But that was a really good interview we did. I watched a good chunk of it back, and I'm like, that was done really well. You guys got to go check it out. Check out Crypto Princess if you don't mind, and maybe give her a follow. I did an interview with her the other day that I haven't done an interview like that in a long time. It was very, very, very open, very real, just kind of off the cuff. Dan Steely would not say shit to Crow's face. Oh, is somebody trying to troll me? Crypto is a con. Crypto scammers. Dan's right. I mean, a lot of crypto is a con. Let's be real. A lot of crypto is bullshit. It's a lot of people out there that are basically saying, the market's hot, traffic's up, they go and they get some capital to launch some new gimmicky bullshit chain or some gimmicky like DApp or app or whatever, and expect to make millions overnight. And then it fades away with the wind after the market cycle, never to be heard from again. I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong, but that's why I typically focus most on layer ones that I think are actively doing things, improving themselves over time, market cycle to market cycle. That's where my money goes. Maybe I don't make a face melting 300x this cycle, But I also believe that should something happen and I have to hold it longer, that I'm in a much better position than the latest gimmick bullshit that's going to pump for a day or two or even a month and then drop like a rock from an air balloon. That's the way I look at it. Crypto Chef, what's going on, brother? I'm almost nervous about getting down to the comments about my little rant. Smash the likes, smash the likes. Yeah, I'm only 732 viewers on this, which, it's fair. It's fine. No violence. Yeah, I mean, that we should not be committing violence of any kind against anybody just because they disagree with us. And if you get so irrational and irate that you want to commit violence to somebody or something because you think something, you're just a fool and you should probably get some help. Like, seriously, like, it's time. It's time. If you're that irate, because the people that are like making millions and millions of dollars are telling you that it's just all garbage. It's all BS. I just think some people really have to have someone to blame or they feel lost. And that's basically what Trump has been for a lot of people. Now, Elon, if you're trying to protest Elon by damaging Teslas, yeah, I mean, it's just silly. It's silly. Tell me how much you care about climate change by blowing up cars and putting toxic fumes in the air. Like, tell me how much you really care about that climate change narrative. It's all silly. It really is. I'm in the wait and invest camp. I've watched cornucopia stagnate for ages now. I'd rather have waited. Listen, I'm actually going to be meeting on with like Josh and I think some of the crew at Cornucopias to get updated on everything that's been happening behind the scenes. Because listen, man, I get it. You know what I mean? It's been a long wait, but listen, sometimes they get upset because they think that I'm bashing them. And it's like, I'm not at all bashing them. I'm a holder. I haven't sold a single token. And like, I know my cousin who's typically in chat, I know he has like 1 million or 2 million Kopi tokens. I have family that have been accumulating it because I love it so much and because they can see the potential. But you're talking about a AAA metaverse project, man. I mean, how much is being spent on these games right now? Like, how much was spent on just single player games, or even if they have co-op, 200 million, $300 million and they're flopping and they're just not doing squat. And now you've got a metaverse project, to the extent of Cornucopias, which is effectively a AAA title, with blockchain interactivity and like just everything associated with it. And it's like, listen, I am not negative on Cornucopias. I'm not. It's just, there are things that I really want to see that I haven't seen yet. I know they're coming, but I'm an impatient whale. And like everyone else in this damn society today, I want what I want now. And if I don't, no, I'm just kidding. There's just a lot that I want to see. And there's a lot that I want to see sooner. But I'm not a developer of a metaverse. Like I say all the time, I don't know how much, I don't know how many people are working there right now. I know a lot. I know that there's a lot of people working to bring everything that I know and love and everything I expect. And I know they're doing a lot of big things. I just haven't been paying that close of attention yet because I haven't seen any releases about the things that I most care about. But they're going to be showing me a bunch of stuff next week, and I'm going to be doing a big video about it all. And then we'll go from there. But at the same time, if we look at a lot of, I'm going to be doing a big metaverse gaming video next week because I'm going to be looking at the tokens associated with everything from Decentraland, Sandbox. I still have my Sandbox land. I haven't touched that. I don't know if it's worth anything today or not. I have no idea. I don't even know if it's easier to build on the Sandbox than it was like 3-4 years ago. I would love for it to be. I would love to have, like, you know, everything I've got planned for Cornucopias and how maybe that crosses into Sandbox and my lands there. I don't know, man. You know, we'll see. But JC says, amen, Crow, you're speaking truth today. Listen, I feel like I always speak truth. I just don't think a lot of people, well, I think my truth definitely resonates with the majority of people. Let's just say that. But it sucks that I have to be so divisive. You know. Okay, let's see. Put your own oxygen mask on first before helping others. Yeah, that's the rule of the plane, right? Who was wealthy a year ago? Yep, all of us. Who was wealthier a year ago? No. Things are turning around now. It's just the crypto market has basically been waiting to see what plays out with a lot of different things. But listen, everyone in the know, all of the substantial whales, everybody, all of the big players in crypto, they know what's coming. They know what's happening. And behind closed doors, they're all moving. So, you know, listen, the day's coming. The day is definitely coming. Why is it the left could laugh at jokes about their leaders, but Trumpers can't laugh at any comments about him? I laugh about comments about Trump all the time. What are you talking about? Oh, I see. You're an anti-Trumper. Listen, I laugh at jokes about Trump all the time. You know, I think that there's a difference between jokes, though. And I know for a fact that the media has taken a lot of Trump's jokes and comments about other people and spun them into being much bigger, much worse than they actually were. The problem is that so many people see the headline and then they believe it. That's the difference. I know that there's a big thing right now about, I don't remember that woman's name, but it's basically talking about Hot Wheels and all that. And you know, and then people are like, wow, Trump was talking about a reporter and he was doing this thing or whatever. I don't remember the details. Personally, I don't think any politician should be knocking anyone, even in the media. Like a lot of the media is terrible. Like they're all like parasites, in my opinion. Like the majority of major media are all parasites. And I don't care what side of the fence they're on. They're all parasites. But they're also paid to do a job to bring eyeballs and engagement to their profit center, right? Like, let's be real. Crypto people do it all the time. Clickbait titles, all this other stuff. So it's all just a big psyop, in my opinion. But I don't think anybody should be demeaning or insulting. And the thing is the left has definitely taken it to a whole new level. When the left is basically trying to make people believe that their opponents politically are people that basically murdered millions of people, like that, I'm sorry, but that, you know, there's a responsibility there, and that's an abuse of not only public trust, but it's just nonsense. It's nonsense. And the people that buy into it, and then even further, the people that act on it, they need time in a hospital. Like they really do. They need time getting their lives together, because there's obviously a lot more wrong with them than just like their TDS or their politics. There are a lot of other issues associated with those individuals. I'm sorry to say. You can not like Trump. You can say like Trump's an asshole. I say it all the time. I used to think Trump was the biggest asshole, but I also told my wife very early on, like in 2016, I'm like, listen, I don't think there's ever been a man more arrogant running for president that I've ever seen. I said, but if there's one thing I know about arrogance, is that I really do believe that this guy's running because he wants to try and establish a legacy, even if it's for his own ego, but he wants to be the best president we've ever had. And I think he's going to do a lot of things that basically align with that. And his first term was good, but he did a lot of things I didn't agree with. And, you know, I feel like the left would have been much better off if they would have just left the propaganda alone. You know, they were relying on basically being able to utilize propaganda in election things that they do to continue moving forward, business as usual. And it didn't work out for them. And now they're all scared as hell and they're all worried. And they know that, you know, the majority of the people in the US aren't that stupid. Some of us are just really busy focused on other things until we're called to action. And, they were called to action, and that's why we got the mandate we did. So, I'm a Republican, but I'll never support DJT. He is a clown. You know what? You're entitled to your own opinion, man. I mean, it is what it is. The people who are benefiting from the waste, fraud, and abuse are the ones making the most noise over Doge. Well, of course they are. That's if you didn't watch the Doge team talking yesterday, it was like an hour. It was pretty eye opening. And anybody that has a bone to pick or has an issue with what they're doing, you're probably following the wrong media because they're lying to you. And B, you like, I don't know what you want as a citizen. I really don't. Will trade volume decline this weekend like it usually does with all these dips? It's possible. I think weekends generally are fairly low anyway. I'm thinking about buying a Tesla because of all this shit. Damaging a Tesla, just give Tesla more money. Why do you think repairing them who do you think is repairing them, stupid? Yeah. I think the idea is that if they damage enough of them, it'll stop people from buying new ones. You're going to spend all this money on a car just to have it damaged by some like person with mental issues. But at the same time, I feel like if the left really wanted to start turning things around, they would start saying like, listen, you guys need to stop. You guys need to calm down. This isn't the right way. This isn't the approach. But I believe that the left has no other, they've got nothing else. They're out of cards to play at this point. And so I think deep down, I don't even think it's deep down. I think really they're trying to achieve this. They're doing exactly what they're trying to do. And I think it's sad, honestly. To be very honest with you, I don't like Teslas that much. I've had Ubers that were Teslas, and they feel cheaply made. I'm not gonna lie. I call it as I see it, man. I like Elon personally. I can't wait to get a Tesla bot. I want an Optimus bot. I want to open a bot shop around Tesla bots. If I can, I'd love to manufacture like aftermarket stuff. Like I would love to be a company. I'd love to start a company that creates like modding kits for the Tesla bot to turn like your Tesla bot into Boba Fett. That's going to be a thing. I mean, within 5 years, we're going to see Boba Fett's walking around social media. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Mark this timestamp. And, I want to I want to open a shop that builds those out and like puts those on. One of my life goals is to be in robotics. And I think the Tesla bot is probably going to be my gateway into being able to do a lot of that stuff. I want to be able to deck out Tesla bots. People are going to be doing so much stuff with them, and I want to be able to do it. I want to be the one, like you take it to my shop and I put your Boba Fett body modification kit on. I don't know, man. I just think that'll be fun. But honestly, I don't like Tesla as much. Even when I was in the market, when we moved back to Florida, I didn't want a Tesla because the Uber rides that I've had in them, I felt like I was sitting in kind of a flimsy vehicle, and it was very minimalist, which is cool for some people. I wasn't feeling it. I wanted like a Mercedes EQS, but they were charging such a high premium on those that I'm like, man, it's a first year model. I'm not going to spend a premium for a first year model. And I never ended up getting an electric. Then I wanted like an electric Hummer. I thought those were cool, but then those weren't due to come out until the next year. So I'm like, whatever. I still don't have an electric vehicle. I really like Lucid. I think those are really cool. But I'm at a point now where I don't want an electric vehicle at all. I want a hydrogen vehicle. So that's what I'm holding out for at this point. I want a hydrogen vehicle. So, hey, Crow, did you get your OG jetpack from Kopi? I don't know. I bought one. So I have the NFTs for a lot of that stuff, but I haven't logged in to check yet, which I'm probably going to be doing next week. They were not ever your friends if you lost them over politics. Yeah, I mean, I agree. But at the same time, listen, I have my beliefs. I have my political beliefs. I have my understanding of what I feel is going on. And let's be real about it. It's all based off of my own algorithm. And I believe that the truth is generally always somewhere in the middle. And just like the guys in the chat, I don't care that they disagree. I don't care that they feel strongly some kind of way. I don't care. We've all been raised differently. We all have different lifestyles based off of how we came up. I was poor growing up. I've had to do all kinds of stupid, terrible jobs throughout my life. I've learned from all of them. I've had a lot of failures in business and all kinds of stuff. I've learned so much through the years, and it's ultimately what made me who I am today. I'm not the grand all be all. I'm not the grand poobah of truth. This is all my own perception of things. And I would expect people to have, other perspectives based off of what they consume, whether it be media or friendships, relationships. We all have our own kind of I don't have an echo chamber. I don't really have friends. I'm pretty much a loner. I never leave my house. I just do my own thing. I try to help the world through this microphone and this YouTube channel, basically. And it's just and I'm okay with that, right? Like my wife and I talk about it all the time. I've learned that a part of what my wife believes to be my spectrum or my autism is that I say things just with brute force, like it is what it is. And that tends to rub people wrong, or people don't get it, or they don't get me. I've been surrounded by people who just take and take and take, and they never give anything. And I've had friendships where I've had all kinds of friends, but the one thing I've learned is that your true friends, I have some of those. I have, what's funny is I feel like all of my best friends are Latin folks, like Fabian and Diana. And I say that with some kind of accent, because that's how everybody says their names. And Andrew, they're the sweetest, nicest people, who have demonstrated that they will be there for you anytime you need them. That to me is a friend. That's somebody who values you and wants to be valued by you, and they're willing to work for that. And then I've had other friends who are just they don't really give a shit about anybody but themselves. They just kind of do whatever's going to serve them in the moment. And then once that's gone, they don't really give a fuck about you. You're just nothing. And so, I'm kind of one of those people that I'll put people through tests. I did it to my wife when we met years ago. She used to get so mad, because I'd tell her don't worry about it. That was just a test. Cause it's I don't trust many people. And, I've put friendships through different tests over time, and to see what their reactions would be. And then once I learn that, then I just know that's who they are. And then I just accept them as who they are. And I know I saw, was it Tyler Perry did something where he was talking about friendships are like trees. You've got some friends that are your roots, and then you've got others that are big, long branches, and then others that are just leaves. The leaves will come and go with the seasons. They're fair weather friends. You've got the branches that'll be there to support you, but you can't rely on them all the time. And then you got the roots that are there no matter what. I'm I totally agree with that. That's all facts. So anyway, you have Dominican friends. I have Colombian friends. I have a good friend from Uruguay. I have Puerto Rican friends. And I do have a Dominican friend, as a matter of fact, but she lives in Puerto Rico. She was actually the real estate agent that helped with the house in Puerto Rico. So, yeah, my wife and I both just like Latin folks. Because they can be as wild and crazy as you want to be, or they could be as sincere and giving and heartfelt. It's just it's all emotion, all real, pretty much all the time. And that to us and to me resonates. I feel honestly, I know this sounds terrible, but I feel a lot of white folks, they say one thing, they do another, I feel white folks do a lot of talking. It's all a lot of chitter chat, a lot of talk. They say one thing, but their actions generally don't line up. And I feel with the Latin communities, like, I feel like, especially if you move to Puerto Rico and you live amongst the culture there, it's like what you say better mean something, because if it doesn't, you're out, you're done. Like, you're out. You're like, it's all about networking and relationships and bartering and, you know, support for one another. Like, that's the Puerto Rican culture. And it's like to get anything done, you've got to know somebody and they have to like you and trust you. And like, it's not because anything illegal. It's just like people aren't going to waste their time on like a piece of shit, right? Like, people aren't going to waste their time doing things to help people that don't deserve it. And so, you know, and yeah, but I think that spills over. It's just a lot of the Latin communities, man. Like, take care of them, they take care of you. Like, that's the way it is. And I feel like it's that way. White people, to me, are just way too entitled. Like, I feel like white folks just think they deserve whatever they're going to get. They don't really appreciate nearly as much of anything. And yeah, man, like, it is what it is. But I saw the title and came in just to tell you I really try to be ready. You know, the whole point of this video, man, is I'm just hanging out because it's Friday a little bit. Stop setting yourself on fire to keep others warm. Damn, that's good. Where'd that come from? Poman 13, mine disappeared when I stopped doing shit for them. I've had that experience too. Believe me. And it's like, it's laughable because it was so obvious, but like, it's just, you know, you've got to fair whether they're people that'll be your friends as long as they're like getting something from you. But generally those people are like betas and like alpha clothes. Like, lost what friends I thought I had after I got cancer. They slowly disappeared. Yep, Crow, I agree. Culture is a big deal. Wow, dude, that's terrible. You know, I've been tested and I've tested myself sometimes, you know, like I've had situations even fairly recently where you kind of learn what you're really made of. And like, if what you believe would be true is true. And I'll just say somebody close had some serious mental issues. That was a real scare. Like, it was a real problem and a real issue. And it was very concerning. And, you know, you start asking yourself, like, where do you go from here? And, you know, regardless of the relationship, for me, it's very much like, listen, as long as I'm not being harmed or attacked or like put in like really bad situations, you know, I'll support anyone, man. Like, I will. I feel like, you know, we're all human and we all make mistakes and we all learn, but, you know, we're also, there's so many things that can go wrong sometimes. And like I had a situation where I had to ask myself, like, if this is it, you know, where do you go from here? And I knew that I was not going to turn my back. Like, I knew, like, whatever the challenges were going to be in the future, then like that's what it is. And you just have to work through that. Luckily it was a very temporary thing. And it was very much like, oh, this is what caused that. Okay. Wow. Thank God, you know? But you know, it's like, we are all thrown curveballs all the time, man. And I am, it's difficult for someone like me to build strong relationships in the eyes of other people. But in my head, I already know who I would go to bat for in any situation, and who, you know, I feel like there are probably people out there that think I don't even like them very much, but I feel like if they needed some help, if they needed me somehow, and it was a way that I could help them, I absolutely would. Even if it was for nothing more than just the karmic value of helping somebody when they're down. And like, that type of stuff means a lot for me. Like, I just don't feel like a lot of people feel that way. I feel like a lot of people are like, listen, there's only one me, you know, I do me, I support me. And, you know, unfortunately, that's how I think too many people are. And I like media, social media, all of that stuff. It just perpetuates a lot of that. So, Jason, you were spot on with that double top last cycle. No double top this time, right? I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing a double top. If I'm seeing anything, I'm either seeing a short pullback at the peak that fakes a lot of people out, and then a continuation. But like if we were to continue moving forward, the way I predicted the 2021 double peak in April, was basically just lining everything up with the NASDAQ. And if we were to do that again this cycle, then we're not going down again for 10 years. And if you look at everything that's lining up right now, it could very well be a thing. I think that there's a lot that's being canceled out as it relates to these 4-year cycles at this point. So, yeah. Crow, thanks for speaking up. I feel you. Good people like you are rare. We need to stay positive and infect others with positivism. That's the only way. I agree. It's hard sometimes. I get caught up too. It's hard. You know, it's like I get really full sometimes and I'm like, God, I just wish I could figure out a way to get people talking again and like solving differences and solving issues. But then I just see like just so much toxicity. And I'm like, God, how do you work through that? How do you swallow your tongue and then work through that to try and reach some of these people? I've tried too, man. I really have. I've tried, and it's almost like a constant state of mania, and it can be very well masked early on in a conversation or subdued, but ultimately, man, it's like they can only fake it for so long, and then it's just like everything. It's really bad. It's very, very dark. Davey, Cardano, Crow have delegated my ADA to you. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, because my staking node is ripping. Like my Crow node on Cardano is like boss as hell. I just posted something recently. I think we minted like 66 out of 69 blocks that epoch, and then I think we're scheduled for like 58 or something this one. I mean, like people on the Crow node are getting paid right now. So yeah. Crow, every Batman needs a Robin. You hiring? At some point, well, I mean, we'll see. I still wish I had an assistant to really help take things to another level, but I can't do any of that stuff until after this market, hopefully when it goes well. Have you seen the BitBoy mugshot? Yes, I saw BitBoy's mugshot. It's very sad. Listen, I'm not a fan of Ben anymore. I mean, we used to be friends, man, and a lot has changed with the fame and the money and the, just everything he had going on. A lot changed. And my wife called it years ago. I mean, we saw him at a convention. I forget which one it was. But we saw him at a convention and he was standing in the middle of a group of people and he was like living his best life. But, my wife was like, he's going to crash and burn. He's going to crash and burn. And like, she just says stuff like that. Sometimes I'm like, he'll be fine. I'm like, it's all new and this and that. And, and she had all of her own theories about like his history and like who he was and who he had become and like everything changing. And she's like, he's going to crash and burn. And, he did, unfortunately. And like, listen, I'm not a fan anymore, but I also don't really believe that kicking a man when he's down, like I really wholeheartedly hope that Ben is able to, he just needs to stay away from social media and reclaim who he is. And that's just my personal opinion, but I really do believe that deep down, Ben's not a bad dude. I know that a lot of you are going to disagree with me. Do I believe he got caught up in his own numbers, in his own shtick? Yes. I think he got caught up in his, when I saw like how he was talking to his ex-wife or whatever about like, Ben still loves you, but the BitBoy, something about like he separated it. I'm like, this is nuts. Like it's like what you see with a lot of these like star athletes and star football players in movies where they refer to themselves in the third person and all that. It's a sad situation, man. And it's like, I would love to see Ben turn things around, but he's not going to do that for as long as he's fighting for the attention of social media and YouTube. It's just not. you trade one addiction for another. You never really kick it all away. And I think he just really grew addicted to the metrics and the numbers and the comments and the fans and everything. And it was always a race to see what would be next to chase that dragon, to fuel that thing. And I think ultimately it ate him up. The dragon it got too big. And rather than him chasing the dragon, the dragon ate him. And I really do hope he recovers and he gets his life back on track and gets things back in order. Really good. Enjoying your message, Crow. Couldn't agree more with the loyalty of the Hispanic community. It's probably the reason why my beautiful wife is Hispanic. Keep on rolling, Crow. That's awesome, David. That's cool, man. My wife isn't Hispanic, but she'd love to think she was sometimes. My wife's actually Irish, and but yeah, it's funny. She loves it when people ask her, like, are you Puerto Rican? Because she wears, like, sometimes she'll wear the big rings and she does her hair and makeup and everything, and her style. My wife's got a lot of style, and she loves it. Problem is with Ben is he thinks social media is the identity. Right. I know it's sad. All right, folks, an hour and a half stream today on a Friday, man. I'm breaking records here. So yeah, hopefully this video serves you a bit today. It's really more about sentiment, being smart, being patient. I know that there are some of you in my chat on the left and some of you on the right. Listen, can we just get over the bullshit and start talking again? Like, what is it going to take? What is it going to take for us to be able to start communicating in a legitimate, real way again? I really do believe that if the world were able to just refrain from social media, mainstream media, especially, and just start talking to one another again, I think we would realize how much we actually have in common today than we did even 5 years ago. It's really time to start turning things around, folks. I mean, and it is what it is. I love all of you, right? Left, center, doesn't matter. Love you the same. It's okay. We have a difference of opinion. I just think now's the time we can actually start talking about it in fruitful ways. That's all. I need to start practicing more of that myself. Just trying to extend a little more patience to people that I think may not be right, or may be a little off the rocker. But we can rein it in. I do have faith. I do have hope. And it is what it is. Until next time, thanks for joining me in my rants and my raves.